Bum, 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 bum.
This is Has Boy Beat.
Welcome in, everybody, to a new episode of the Wisemen Say podcast. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald, Lucas, Derik, Abbott. Fellas, how are we doing this wonderful Wednesday?
Doing
Fantastic.
great, doing good. How are you?
Living the dream. I can't complain. That's another day in paradise. I took a nap, and I feel refreshed.
Look like it.
So, yeah, dude. I mean, it wasn't that long. It was like probably 45 minutes.
Don't
So
look like a
solid.
zombie.
that's great. So I normally do feel like a zombie after being at work all day. So I mean, hell yeah, I'll take
Yo.
that any day I can get. Honestly,
You don't got the bags under your eyes that look like you went, pound for pound with Mike Tyson.
thankfully, I mean, hot diggity daffodil. I'm normally, as soon as I come up, I'm normally on video games and whatnot, but I didn't do that. So I mean, hey, something's got to give, right? So, fellas, as I mentioned in the group text last week, which we'll get to here in a second, we forgot to break some news last week. But first of all, just want to extend again a very warm thank you to everybody who listens and shares and communicates with us on the show. Follows us on social media. You guys are awesome. So thank you guys so much. And without that, oh my God, Aaliyah, holy shit. How are you? My word, I haven't heard from you in forever. Golly, how you doing? But on the flip side of that, right, boys, we got some news. We got some Jesus Christ, my phone's about to fall. We got some news. I think we got recognized for something, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So, without further ado, I've added it onto the banner. There we go.
We got a little logo thing. That's cool.
Yeah. So at the bottom left of your screen, folks, you will see a Best MLS podcast. Now, what does that mean? So according to this company, I'm going to read the email. It's called Million Podcasts, right? So according to them and their database, okay, if I can pull up the email here, I should have did all this before, but here we go. So this company, Million Podcasts, just wanted to quickly follow up on our recent email, whatever. We're thrilled to showcase your work and help more listeners discover your content. So, the Wisemen Say podcast has been featured as has been featured in their 100 best soccer podcasts, coming in at, I believe it's number 45.
Ooh.
Out of 100. Right?
Top 50.
So we are amongst the likes of Total Soccer Show, ESPN FC, Football Weekly, Sam's Army, MLS Extra Time, The Athletic, Corner of the Galaxy, the designated players amongst just soccer podcasts in general, right? Now we are also listed in the best 5 Columbus Crew podcasts, coming in at number 4.
Ooh.
Just behind Massive Report Podcast at 3, Soccer Speakeasy at 2, and Aces Radio at 1.
Oh. I love that Aces Radio got 1. That's
Of
so
course.
funny.
Yeah, of course. Shout out to Upper 90 Club also. They are at number 5, respectively. So, fellas, we're making some noise here on the Wisemen Say podcast.
Love it.
Right?
I love that.
So, again, we want to thank everybody who tunes in to the podcast, whether it's, watching live here on YouTube and Twitter, or listening to it all the way through Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Goals TV as well. We want to thank you guys for doing that. We could not be here without you guys. And other than that, fellas, let's get right into the show. Yeah.
Real quick, just to cap off and talk about that, just tie the vision that we had 3 years ago. Just two guys talking about Columbus soccer and seeing the growth that the show has had, now to having, a third host and featured in the top 50, honestly, of soccer podcasts in the world, just means, the fans love us. And without the fans, we wouldn't be here. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. We greatly appreciated the consistent from commenters. Anybody who casually drops in and listens to us or watches us, definitely keep it coming, and we will keep delivering on things or suggestions. If anybody has suggestions of things that would make it even more engaging, we've got some new stuff this week that we're going to roll out that I think will be exciting. So
definitely.
Thank you.
So, without further ado, fellas, let's get right into the recent stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look really quick at the standings here. I want to know, are we surprised at where we are in the standings at number 6?
No.
No, I was more surprised last week. I think we were at like 3 going into that game or somewhere.
Yeah.
Like we were pretty high up, and I was actually pretty surprised by that. I mean, we don't have any losses yet, so that is, in my mind, that's more of a surprise than wherever we're at in the standings, based upon how we kind of started, and at least the last game you saw rolling out a bit of a skeleton crew, so to speak.
I mean, just looking at it, we're sitting on 9 points. A 1 win and everybody else dropping either 3 points or getting a point. We're right back in first place if we win against DC United this week, which we'll touch on later.
Yeah.
So, hell, if Philadelphia drops a game, a loss, and then we have Charlotte gets a point, Miami ends up losing or tying, Nashville, Chicago, even that's more of a surprise for me, honestly. And this is even a Chicago Fire podcast. Like, what the hell? But we're still in the thick of things. It's still really early in the season, right? I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet. See, your dog even agrees. It's not time to hit the panic button yet, right? Your dog is telling everybody to calm down, relax.
His name is Crew too, so he is definitely he is a fan.
See, he's telling everybody to relax, calm down, and just get their panties out of a bunch and just relax. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be okay. All right.
That's right.
Recent crew news that we have come privy to, at least. It seems that nothing's been as of concrete yet, I would say. But it looks promising because I've not seen anything false come out of the French newspaper I believe it's L'Equipe. That the Columbus Crew are interested in Mama Balde from Brest. So I feel like we're about to be
Just what a sentence. All those words together, just
Mama Balde
fantastic.
breast.
I feel like we're about to turn into the Champions League show with Kate Scott, Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher, Micah Parsons, and Micah. I think is it Micah Richards? Micah Richards. When they were talking, when Brest was on a tear for their Champions League run earlier in the season. But nothing concrete as of yet. I did look up stats. He arrived from, I believe it's Lyon this year. 22 appearances across all competitions, 2 goals and 3 assists. So not big on the production side. But I mean, I don't think you're expected to turn into, Ronaldo or somebody when you move from one team to another at the beginning of the season, because it takes time to adapt and fit into a style of play, etc. So, I mean, but other than that, I haven't heard anything. I haven't reached out to the club for any words. So, I mean, there's that. So, a lot of people are saying he seems to be like a winger type instead of a 9. But everybody's hoping he's not on a DP money. So
depth, if nothing else, which we sorely need at this point. So I mean,
yeah, that's one thing that I did see is, maybe because if Jason does get called up for Canada national team for the what's the tournament coming up, Gold Cup and whatnot, then we're gonna need a depth piece. So window's still open up until April 23rd, I believe. So
is theirs open at the same? Is that theirs as well?
I think theirs is still open.
I think so.
I was wondering that when I initially saw that report, but I did not do my research admittedly to find out.
I think so. I can't even find out where it will be at, but I think so. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, if that is something to think about, like I said, I haven't heard any false news come out of that French newspaper, because that's what the dispatch is to Columbus, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that's France's big newspaper, just like I believe Marca is Spain's big newspaper. So, yeah. So there's something there. But I imagine that the interest stage is just where they are now. They haven't made any contact with the club yet, or something like that. So I guess we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah. Reinforcements. More than happy to have any reinforcements we can get.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now getting into the good part. The Columbus Crew draw New York City FC 0-0 in what seemed like a tie that felt like a loss, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, at least for me, I should say for me, that game felt like a loss. While I get this up, Derik, were you at the game? Thoughts on the game?
Unfortunately, I was not at the game. We woke up sick on Saturday morning, so we decided to forego going to the game. So I watched it just at home, which actually made it more interesting, because I feel like I would have been far more heated. Well, no, actually, I was probably more heated at home. Varying factors, was not in partaking in adult beverages at home at the time, but at the game, I certainly would have been. But the goal called back. I mean, the angles that they were showing, it was like it. I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel like the angles that we got to see, there was enough there to necessarily like say that was offsides. Personally, I just don't think you could see, like, there again, we've mentioned this before, where camera angles make a big difference, and if you have one that's not in line with where that line is, it's pretty easy to immediately default to, well, where this doesn't look like enough evidence. Now obviously they probably have more angles, so you got to hope that that was the case when it comes to that. But overall, yeah, I felt like, I mean, you look at the stats, it's like you've got him up here. I mean, in every category, we, dominated in one way or another. And so it just felt like we should have come away with more. Again, I don't typically like to look at ties as necessarily a loss this early in the season, but it's one that felt like, with all those, I mean, you see in the stats, it should have been a win, unfortunately, but it's not a loss technically. So I will take that away from a positive side of things.
Jerald.
That was offside. With
you guys probably had a better angle of it, I would assume.
Yeah.
I was
it had it right in front of us.
Yeah.
I was right there, dead line with them. I even called it. But then there was like 6 passes after that made me, question myself. Like, maybe he wasn't offside. And then, the goal happens. And Ty mentioned, as soon as the goal went in, I was like, it's VAR. And Ty's like, well, you called it. I'm like, it was, the one was offside.
Yeah.
Just something about playing both New York teams is always a test for every MLS team, regardless of who the head coach is for both teams. Both teams have an identity that's been established, and regardless of who the head coach is, that identity still somehow finds its way out. Playing with the low blocks and playing compact, defense. And it was a hard fought draw. It did feel like a loss, but also at the same time, it was something to be proud of, if that makes sense. That, hear me out, and reason to be proud of getting the draw, right, is you were short people. You had your starting defensive line pretty much out with Steven, Rudy, Amundsen, then you had, one of your top wingers and Max gone. So now you have to plug and play. And we've talked about it before of game shape is different than training shape. So, being able to be cohesive with the players out there, you don't have that cohesion when you have DeJuan Jones playing, a full, 70, 80 minutes. You don't have cohesion when you have AZ playing, in a different role.
He was on one. He was on one though.
Don't get me wrong, he was on one, but also at the same time, there should have been a point in his head that after 5 or 6 shots, stop taking them.
I mean, but if opportunity presents itself.
But some of those shots, there was not an opportunity. You could tell he was forcing the issue. He was trying to he was trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. Yeah, I got a whole mind full of puns, but there was one pass that he sort of that showed me that he was being selfish, right? And it was one that Jason was standing right there, and he gave Jason a little nudge and took the pass. And it was coming from Diego, and because all Jason had to do was make a small little turn, and he was past the defense. but AZ took the pass and continued to go to the right. And you could tell there was some frustration there. So, there's a point where you're at a point that you've taken, 8 shots, and the only one that was good was the one that bounced off the post. When all the other ones skyrocketed, to the moon or to the left side, right side, you were forcing the shot. Maybe in his eyes he saw something, possibly, right? But having that aerial visual of everything, that aerial vision, it didn't look like there was nothing there at all. And like I told you, I asked you, I said, do you think he's doing this to build his confidence up shooting? I get, 5 or 6, but, at the same time, you sort of hurt the team.
I think the biggest outlier of this match for me is we had a couple outliers, actually. 23 shots, 5 on goal, 10 corners. Nothing to show for them. Right?
And 8 of those shots were AZ.
Those are the 3 biggest outliers of this game, right? In my opinion, we absolutely played New York City off of our own pitch, but have nothing to show for it, right? So, on one hand, I'm kind of in agreement with you that, with players missing due to injury, international duty, and a red card suspension, it's cool to get a point, but a hot diggity daffodil. We did the best we could. Why can't we get a ball past Matt Freese? Oh yeah, because he's one of the league's top goalkeepers, right? I mean, they had 0 corners. They had 0 shots on goal. Evan Bush did absolutely nothing except pick grass. That's how good we were. But why can't we have a 1-0 win? Why can't we have a 2-0 win, 3-0 win? Hell, Yevon Shaberko almost got a goal. And I looked at you like, what the hell? Because you said he was going to get one.
Yeah.
I looked at it.
It was damn near close. And Matt Freese, tipped it over.
And I was like, okay, we're getting the chances. We just can't find the back of the net.
Also, I did point out, too, this is 2 games that the referees have been inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
2 games in a row from San Diego and then also New York, that there should have been some more cautions instead of talking tos. I mean, yes, they let him play. Don't get me wrong. But there was some fouls in there that should have been, some yellows. I think Diego's going to get the first yellow card for talking to the ref. Knock on wood that he doesn't. But that man can't leave a referee.
He's like attached at their hip every time. He's like right there ready to argue.
Well, also the thing is like Pro isn't doing a very good job at implementing only the captain rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing a very good job at implementing that because they're going to end up talking to other players. They're going to end up listening to other players, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that this has been some of their worst consistent. The only thing they're consistent at so far is being wildly inconsistent. Like it feels like they really need to tighten things up on their end a little bit.
Yeah,
or a lot of it.
They do, but let's just rewind, 2 years when we had the scabs. We don't want to go back.
That was last year. That was last year.
Yeah, it was the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was bad.
It was
That
last
was
year.
really, really bad.
Yeah.
I guess
That was-
you know,
So,
Oh, that was so bad.
you always think like it can't get worse, and we've actually seen worse, unfortunately, and it was a lot worse. But it's just you don't like to, I feel like I say that all the time if I'm watching like football on Sundays in the fall, of constantly complaining about the referees and not being consistent and stuff, and it feels like we're not too far off from every game we are having to bring it up, which is unfortunate because you want them to be there to implement the rules, but you really don't. The best scenario of refereeing is when you don't know any of their names or you don't think
Never
of
heard
them
of
when you're
them.
talking about the outcome of a game. And yet it seems like every week, unfortunately, we're like there are things here and there, not always something wildly egregious, but yeah, I mean, it's just something you don't really want to have to think about a lot or talk about, really. And it's unfortunate it keeps happening.
I will say this. I'm not going to mention who I heard this from, but couple commentators that I have spoken with have said on that Charlotte game that was not offside.
What duh?
But
I could have told you that.
Well,
Anybody could have told you that. The angle that they used was absolutely stupid.
I know, but this is, ones that, have to sort of tote the company line, with Apple and MLS and
Yeah. I get that.
but for them to admit it, not on camera, it goes to show you that, I think there's still a huge gap between MLS and pro, and something's got to give before some of these small fouls and the persistent fouls on players turns into melee.
Yeah.
Like, turns into something that we've seen with the US versus Mexico, or there was one over the weekend in, over in Europe, I think it was. That there was a foul or whatever that was committed, right there on the sideline, and some players, whatever, and it turned into a bench clearing brawl. Which I can't wait to say that starting, I think, tomorrow or Friday, bench clearing brawls. Play ball, right? But it's these officials, like, I get they have a split second to make calls, right? I get it, but be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna sit there and throw a caution or call a foul for this violation, and you cite per the letter of the law, well, be consistent with it. If it goes from a level 1 to a level 2 type foul and you're not being consistent with it, that level, that level 2 of that law is shown, but you want to only call it a level 1, you got to be persistent. And Ty, your favorite saying, if it's a yellow in the first minute, it's a yellow in the 90th.
Correct.
If it's a red in the 13th minute, it's a red in the 90th. So
correct.
Mm-hmm. A foul is a foul, right? We can't get around that. Maybe some fouls, some ticky tack ones maybe shouldn't be called, and those ones turn into big fouls because it calls for retaliation.
Yeah.
And fortunately, when the player that retaliates, it ends up being a bigger foul.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just like some of those ticky tack fouls that get called lead to those bigger fouls and, red cards, yellow, double yellows, regular, single yellows, player injuries. It leads to that stuff. So it's just like you can't, I know it's hard saying you can't pick and choose, but sometimes you got to let the little ticky tack petty stuff go to avoid in the long run those 8-minute stoppage times for somebody to get off the field, or an 8-minute stoppage time because it was so bad of a foul that now you have a fight. And now you're just sitting there handing out books of yellow cards, red cards, suspensions, fines, expulsions, whatever the case may be. So that's my take.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with all of that. It's just, like you said, be consistent in the beginning and the end. And yeah, we saw it with the San Diego one, where obviously in some cases there was extenuating circumstances with what was going on with the crowd, but eventually it turns into these long delays and people arguing with the ref, and it just turns in, and anybody who has any kind of momentum going on in the game, it just absolutely sucks that just completely dry off the field with not being able to maintain that for either team really at the end of the day. And so like inevitably they're impacting the game in a negative way by just not being consistent along with it. And not to say that necessarily this game in one in particular, you saw a big instance of that, but if it's noticeable enough that we have to keep bringing it up and talking about it, then they're not doing their job well enough.
But those stats from this past Saturday were just astronomical.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, just like
you would think if you have that many shots on goal that you eventually, like the sheer power of will, one of them is going to go in. Or like you were saying, Jerald, about like AZ taking 8 shots, like the March Madness was the first 2 rounds for this weekend. And I forget, it was like Patino or somebody.
St. John's in Arkansas.
Yeah, and he was getting grilled because he benched somebody who wasn't playing well. But it's like eventually, if someone just keeps throwing up threes or whatever it is, and they're not hitting anything or the broadside of a barn, eventually you have to be like, listen, we can't have you doing this anymore. You're not going to stop. Like, it's not helping the team any longer. You would rather have less shots but better shots than to just keep spraying shots all over the place and none of them, other than one hitting a post, just, the moon has like a full collection of soccer balls now because that's where they all ended up at the end of the day. And it's like, eventually you got to just reel them in and be like, hey, you got to sit, you got to think about this. We'll try again next week. Like today's not your day.
My surprise takeaway from the game, and I know you probably were going to get to that though, Ty, final takeaways, but the Cappies came in.
Who was the guy? You mentioned him. Was it Herrera? Herrera's not a Cappy, but he played really well.
Herrera had a game, but Cole Maroka came in for his first game of the 2025 season. And immediately, you could tell he made an impact. But the one that stood out, besides Ruvalcaba, who started, Tristan Brown. And Tristan, Tristan Brown's performance on Saturday, there's some upside to having him up there with the first team. Like, he created, there was what was it, Ty? I think there was like 2 chances where he was on that far side of the field, and he made 2 runs that got into the box.
Yep.
Just like bodied the defender off of him and made it to the box. Like, had there not been that much traffic, I mean, he would have got the pass off to, somebody. And I think he even took a shot. He took one shot that if he would have had, a cleaner path and a little bit more time on it, he would have got his first MLS, goal, Saturday. But I remember, leaning over to you, Ty, and like, we saw this from Tristan on Wednesday. His playmaking ability to, on that dribble, off of his, on that far side, the way that he's able to create those plays and create space, it's like, it's only a matter of time before he gets called up to where he's getting that first team contract, and you might see him a little more. You might not see AZ, but you might see him a little more.
Damn, my guy AZ's catching all the strays, and like, god damn.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've argued for AZ. Like, I've seen his ability, I've seen his talent, but my God, like how long is it going to take you to print the final edition?
This was Gerald's face every time that AZ took a shot.
And no, literally it was. And then I dropped my head like, oh, I love that.
I'm telling Derek, I'm using that whenever I can.
You know what? As if I'm
Put
going to
it
be having
on-
technical difficulties mid-show, I that is at least I could contribute.
Put it on Twitter, Ty. You have to respond to somebody's comment with that meme. You have to.
This is my face anytime Connor says he's going to give me a red card for playing Apex.
Just you got to be kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me. Really quick. I do want to show this because this is also another layer of why I'm kind of frustrated that we did not walk away with 3 points. These are the possession stats.
Oh, this is just so
by
bad.
5-minute intervals.
I don't want to see this.
Can somebody tell me approximately how many total minutes New York had decent possession? 10.
I'm actually shocked that it's even 59 to 41. I mean, just in general, when you look at it, I mean, I know they had like some sloppy possessions, but overall, I mean, you just looking at this without context of some of it, you're like, we like wildly dominated the game, like to the point of you wouldn't even guess 41% possession if you didn't have the percentages next to it and you were just looking at that. Like, we absolutely dominated, other than the score at the end of the game.
Yeah,
and that's why it's a hard draw, but it's a loss at the same time.
Yeah, which is, I mean, hell, even talking to Cesar Ruvalcaba, AZ, and Evan Bush after the game, they're frustrated that they just could not find a win, right? Yeah, we're still unbeaten in 5 MLS matches, but what's the team got to do to get another 3 points? Forgot what 3 points feels like. We only
honestly
3 points our first 2 games of the season, and they're against mid teams. Honestly,
sacrifice a live chicken. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
I don't.
I don't either.
Going along with it.
Major League, the movie.
Oh man, I have not seen it in a long time.
The guy. Oh my God,
I haven't seen that movie in years. I think the last time I saw that movie was freshman year.
As a Reds fan, it's difficult for me to watch that movie.
I watch it.
2 Reds fans in here, Jesus Christ!
But no, what was his? I can't remember his name and what he called the god and all that, but he kept striking out, and he talked to, he would sacrifice the chicken, before the game and whatever. But I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna have it, but nah,
you need
he's
to sacrifice. Listen, the Nordic, if you give them some ideas, they might try to run with something. So I don't know if we want that, but
we need to have the locker room saged again.
Yeah. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. Moving on, fellas. It's now time for Crew 96 trivia. I would share my screen, but I just realized that when I share a screen, Derek, you're cut off by the MLS podcast thing. So,
that's fine. I mean, if my face is going to be a trophy or some kind of championship of sorts, I mean, there are worse things to be blocked by.
So what's going to happen? We have about 20 questions. A lot of them are pretty simple. But there are some that I never even knew. So we have about 20 questions. And we're going to start with question number 1. Okay. Yes, Connor, we saw that. We addressed it right at the beginning of the show. Long story short, nothing more to report, I guess I said. So I guess I'll just wait to reach out to the club tomorrow.
Breasts mama bald. And we are on board.
Here we go.
Mama breast bald.
All right. So, fellas, each question has it's a multiple choice. It's a multiple choice. There's no extended response. On average, about 4 different answers to choose from. Okay.
Let's do it.
First
Answer
question
in the comments.
So, first question: what colors do the Columbus Crew wear? Is it red and blue, black and red, blue and gold, or black and gold?
D.
D.
Correct. The Crew's primary jersey is bright yellow with black trim and has been nicknamed the Banana Kit or the Canary Kit by fans. I'll tell you right now, no fan calls it the Canary Kit.
No, that's a first.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the Banana Kit. Okay.
This weekend we're rocking them.
Yep, I have the images in.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. You're good. Second question. Right now, you guys are 1 for 1. Who did the Columbus Crew select with the first overall pick and made? Jerald, do not cheat.
I already know the answer.
You don't know the year yet.
What was the question, Jerald?
No, go ahead and finish the question.
Don't be over there cheating now.
Look, my hands are up here.
Who did the Columbus Crew select with the first overall pick in Major League Soccer's first draft in 1996? We have A, Jeff Cunningham, B, Bo Oshinayi, C, Brian McBride, or D, Dr. Kumalo.
Derik?
It's A, right?
Final answer?
You're going Jeff Cunningham?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Jerald?
C.
Was it McBride?
C. Connor says C, Brian McBride. The correct answer is Brian McBride.
When was Cunningham drafted? We don't know. We don't have that on here, do we?
I think Cunningham.
We'll get to that after we get done with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to take time on that.
Brian McBride played 8 years with Columbus, scoring 62 goals and 45 assists in 161 league games. In 2011, the Crew honored McBride by naming him the inaugural member of its Circle of Honor.
When? 2011?
2011, yeah.
And we have 3 people in it currently?
Yeah.
Don't get us started on that, Derik.
Yeah.
That's a topic for another day. That's just pencil that one for some other time. But yeah, that's crazy.
According to Dr. Kamala was the first ever club captain. Number 3, what was depicted on the original Columbus Crew badge? Was it A, a soccer ball, B, a checkerboard, C, people, or D, a sledgehammer?
C, people.
Yeah, C.
Yeah, all right. Jerald, you are a perfect 3 for 3. Jerald, you are a perfect. I think I said, did I say Derik or Jerald first?
Jerald.
I'll take 3.
Okay. So, Derik, you are 2 for 3. Jerald, you are 3 for 3. The club badge from 96 to 2014 was unique amongst MLS teams in that it featured people containing 3 silhouetted males wearing construction hats beneath the stylized Crew wordmark. The logo was intended to represent a crew of hardworking people, much like the hardworking blue-collar image the city of Columbus cultivates. Now,
that would be a giant data center.
Yeah. Now, this one, I have no idea. Okay. So, I'm not keeping my score because I'm reading the questions, but I think either Jerald, you might miss your first one. Derik, I think you missed your second one.
Okay.
Unless somebody in the comments knows. What was the club almost named instead of the Crew? Was it A, the Columbus Capitals, B, the Columbus Explorers, C, the Columbus Vibe, or D, the Columbus Eclipse?
Columbus Explorers.
You're going with the Columbus Explorers. You're going B.
I'm gonna go A, but something makes me. I don't know why I want to go with Vibe real bad. But even though I think that sounds ridiculous, it's probably not accurate at all. But I'm gonna go A.
Okay.
I forget what A is now.
So,
Capitals.
Derek, you're going the Columbus Capitals. Jerald, you're going the Columbus Explorers.
Yeah.
All right. So, A is wrong.
Ooh.
B is wrong. So, I didn't get to Mr. First one. They were almost the Columbus Eclipse. The
From
team
that
was
Eclipse.
Wow.
Yep. As a solar eclipse that passed over the city of Columbus just after reaching the league's 10,000 deposit minimum.
That's hilarious. What a random what a random thing to name. I would thought you were going to say because it just passed over Columbus. I'm like, so did it over all these other cities. You mean no love for Vibe? I mean, that would have been cool.
Yeah, no. Here we go. The Columbus Eclipse because of the solar eclipse in 94. From Connor, Bill McClay says D.
Wow, good job.
Yeah. Number 5. Who scored the winning goal in the 2002 U.S. Open Cup? Edson Buttle, Brian McBride, Freddie Garcia, or Jeff Cunningham?
It's a bit before my time.
Jeff Cunningham.
Gerald's going to go Jeff Cunningham.
I was thinking Cunningham too.
Derek's going to go Jeff Cunningham?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Don't tell me it was Garcia.
But
Correct answer was C. Freddie Garcia scored the only goal and goalkeeper John Bush posted the shutout on Columbus's 1-0 win in the 2002 U.S. Open Cup final.
I knew it too.
Yep, it was Freddie Garcia. Connerson McBride. McBride was wrong. Number 6. What team does Columbus play for the Trillium Cup? Is it A, FC Cincinnati, B, Toronto FC, C, Chicago Fire, or D, FC Dallas?
Toronto.
Gerald's going Toronto. Derek?
Yeah, Toronto.
Connor is also going Toronto. I don't even need to click the name because that is correct.
Is that still a thing? Do they still pass that back and forth?
Yeah,
Trophy's missing.
Huh?
Said the trophy's missing.
The trophy's here in Columbus.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, it's at the it's at OHPC.
Okay.
Yeah. Toronto hasn't won it in like years, so it's missing from Toronto. I'm pretty sure there's a missing poster posted in the locker room somewhere
in the back of their milk cartons.
Yeah, but it's at OHPC. It's in the so it's in like where the main office, not really main offices are, but it's
gotcha.
It's at OHPC. I'm like 100% sure.
We can't see it, so
yeah. All right. What did fans call Robert Warzecha during his playing days? Was he A, the Polish cannon, B, the Polish bazooka, C, the Polish rifle, or D, the Polish pistol?
I'm gonna go D.
Gerald's going. You're going D.
Yeah.
You're going the Polish pistol.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna go A.
You're gonna go the Polish cannon. Derek.
Yes.
Correct.
We're both wrong.
Bill McClay says rifle. I hate to do this, guys.
Rifle,
but Bill McClay is correct.
Oh man, that was literally deciding between a rifle and cannon, but
he's known as the Polish rifle in part because of his accuracy from free kicks. Shout out Bill McClay popping in with a perfect 2 for 2.
Yeah, kicking our
so
butt.
far. I lost track of your guys' score, by the way. So
Jerald is still beating me. I know. I
know that because Gerald's missed 2. I think you've missed
like 4.
4, I think. Yeah, so you're probably at a 50%.
These older ones are giving me a hard time here. Let's get some more modern ones.
Hey, but it's fun though, right?
I'm learning a lot today.
Which Columbus goalkeeper recorded the most shutouts? Was it A, Zach Steffen, B, Andy Greenbaum, C, William Hesmer, or D, John Bush?
Hesmer.
Gerald's going Hesmer.
I'm going to go Steffen.
Derek's going Zach Steffen. Let's see if Connor or Bill pipe in. I have the answer. I'll come back to it. Jerald, who'd you say, Hesmer?
Yep.
Correct. Surpassed John Bush as the franchise's all-time shutout leader by earning his 26th in a 1-0 triumph over the Kansas City Wizards at Community America Ballpark on May 23rd, 2010. He would go on to record 19 more shutouts for a total of 45 before leaving the club in 2012.
Wow. Steffen didn't even have a chance. He wasn't even here long enough for that. That's a lot. Yeah. Wow.
Yep. Who did Columbus trade for Giassi Zardes? Was it A, Ola Kamara, B, Axel Højbjerg, C, Emmanuel Boateng, or D, Justin Meram?
Say him again. What were the
Ola Kamara, Axel Højbjerg, Emmanuel Boateng, or Justin Meram?
Okay, I know this one.
I'll
let Gerald go first.
Connor says Emmanuel Boateng.
I'm gonna say Meram.
I will get that number for you here shortly.
Wait, we traded for?
Yeah, we traded for Giassi Zardes, meaning Giassi Zardes came here.
A.
You're changing your answer to A?
That's my final answer.
Okay. Gerald? Meram. Connor says Emmanuel Boateng. You are wrong. Gerald, you are wrong. Derik, you are correct. Ola Kamara. January 20th, 2018, Zardes signed for Columbus Crew in a swap deal that saw Ola Kamara head to the opposite direction.
We had Kai Kamara, and then we had Ola Kamara, and then we went to Giassi.
Wasn't Zardes like the pre-court big nine?
Yeah.
Number 10, halfway through, guys. Who was the first head coach for the Columbus Crew? Was it A, Greg Andrulis, B, we just did this. God damn.
What are the odds that this actually ended up sliding into?
I know, right? I was like, wait, hold on. Justin Blair. How many of the three of you are blocked by Nordecka? None of us. I don't think.
None. No, I don't think so.
I'm not.
I think I know what he's referencing because I saw something on my Twitter page as I was sharing the segment coming up for the. Oh wait, I have to change the banner. Of the trivia coming up, I saw something on my Twitter page. I think I know what he's referencing. None of us are blocked by the Nordecka. However, I do not associate with the Nordecka. I mean, I associate with people in it, but not the Nordecka itself. Who was the first head coach of the Columbus Crew? Greg Andrulis, Timo Lykowski, Tom Fitzgerald, or Sigi Schmidt? I think we all three were just spewing this before the show even started. So, are we going to say the answer?
It's B, right? I literally forgot. I'm not going to lie.
Which one was it?
Tom Lykowski?
Is B.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Tom Lykowski.
We started talking about so many other coaches that I literally forgot about him since it was such a. What was it? You said the stat earlier.
He's the only Finnish head coach that Columbus Crew has ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And he was fired after having a 6-16 record in 22 games.
Justin, as always, thanks for stopping in, man. Hope to get you on the show soon and talk to you soon, actually. Yeah. So, yeah, that's ironic that I didn't even read that until I read that. I was like, wait, hold up.
As soon as you started saying it, I was like, get out of here. It cannot be the same question.
What's the next one?
All righty. Where did the Crew play their first 3 seasons? Was it A, Historic Crew Stadium, B, Ohio Stadium, C, Lower.com Field, or D, Mafre Stadium?
B.
Derek's going B. Gerald's going B. That is correct. It is the Ohio Stadium from 96 to 98. Number 12. Who was the Columbus Crew player to win MLS Rookie of the Year? Was it A, Kyle Martino, B, Chad Marshall, C, Stern John, or D, Jeff Cunningham?
Chad Marshall.
Yeah, Chad Marshall.
Jerald and Derik are both going Chad Marshall. Connor also got the previous question correct by saying Ohio Stadium. All three of you are wrong.
Oh,
Really?
It was Kyle Martino.
was it really? Wow.
Left the University of Virginia after his junior season, signing a Project 40 contract with Major League Soccer and entering the 2002 MLS Super Draft, where the Columbus Crew selected him eighth overall. Tallied 2 goals and 5 assists in 22 appearances, and won the MLS Rookie of the Year award while running the Crew offense for much of the season.
I'm a little surprised with the stats. I mean, I love him, but
I know, right?
That wouldn't make you think Rookie of the Year, but whatever.
Times have changed since 2002.
Yeah.
Bill McClay piped in last second with A.
Bill's like our historian over here. I love it.
I know, right? Fellas, if you guys get this one wrong, I'm going to question the existence of your guys' status on this show. Okay, what year did the Columbus Crew win its first MLS Cup? 2002, 2014, 2020, or 2008?
D.
Okay, thank you. Both you guys got that one correct. All right, who was the Crew's first uniform sponsor? Was it Acura, Barbasol, Snickers, or Pepsi?
Snickers.
B. Or D, no, Snickers, whatever one that was.
No.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I know why you're thinking about it, because Sierra Mist was a sponsor at one point.
No,
right?
it is Snickers.
Okay. When was Sierra Mist, though? They were on there, right?
They were on the sleeve.
Okay. Then it was Snickers then.
So, good.
I was just going to say, I know that Sierra Mist was on somewhere on their jersey at one point.
So, Connor saying Snickers, Jerald saying Snickers, Derik, you're saying Snickers?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Mars' Snickers chocolate bar was Crew's first uniform sponsor on a 5-year, $6 million deal that lasted from 96 to 2000.
Oh, that would be so awesome to get something like that back.
I know, right?
It's possible with the third kid.
This guy's just dropping knowledge. 15, 5 more questions, guys, and then we're moving on. Who scored the 2008 Eastern Conference Final game winner to send Columbus to the MLS Cup? Was it Guillermo Barros Scalotto? Was it Alejandro Moreno, Robbie Rogers, or Eddie Gavin?
Ooh.
Fuck my life. To send it to the MLS Cup final?
To send Columbus to the MLS Cup.
Connor's saying Frankie. I don't think it was. I think Frankie was in the finals. I'm going to go left field, Robbie Rogers.
You're going to go Robbie Rogers? So we have Robbie Rogers so we have Frankie Hayduk from Connor. We have, who said Robbie Rogers?
I did.
Derik says Robbie. Jerald says Guillermo.
Yeah.
You are all wrong.
Wow. Moreno.
Was it Gavin?
It was
Gavin?
Eddie. Yep, it was Eddie Gavin.
Son of a bitch.
It was after Chad Marshall's header to tie the game, and then Eddie Gavin scored that Bardowski a couple minutes later to send Columbus to the MLS Cup final.
And Frankie scored in the final, right?
Frankie scored the winner in the MLS Cup final. Yep.
Okay.
Off the pass from GBS.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
16.
Frankie took his jersey off and jumped into the crowd.
Legendary stuff right there.
16. Excluding goalkeepers, which Crew player made the most appearances for Columbus without scoring a goal or an assist? Is it A, Robin Fraser, B, Brian Carroll, C, Chad Marshall, or D, Will Trapp?
Okay, well, I can eliminate
Fraser.
2 of those. I'm going to go B.
Jerald's going Robin Fraser. Derik is going Brian Carroll. I keep forgetting that the YouTube that there's like a small delay
Oh.
from here to YouTube. So I was trying to see if
2 of those I distinctly remember scoring goals.
was it Chad Marshall and Will Trapp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just talked about Chad Marshall, so
Yeah, 100%.
Will Trapp, that he scored that banger in extra time versus, or I think it was Orlando one
Orlando
time.
City.
It was just an absolutely
Top bins.
incredible shot.
Fun fact, that was my first match working as a marketing intern for the Columbus Crew.
Oh, wow.
So during that era was also the whole relocation thing.
Yeah.
And I had to sign an NDA because when I made the announcement of me working for the team, they're like, "Oh, is the team moving?" And I'm like, "I can't say anything because I signed an NDA."
You could have gotten on Big Soccer and made a
Yeah, right.
and made an account. No one would have found you.
The correct answer is A, Robin Fraser. Only scored 1 regular season and 1 playoff goal in his entire MLS career.
Wow.
Played for the Crew 2004 and 2005, totaling 56 appearances without a single goal or assist, which is mental. Number 17. What player sued MLS to avoid playing for Columbus? Was it A, Stern John, B, Marco Echeverri, C, Kai Kamara, or D, Paul Caligari?
B.
B.
You guys are both going B. You both are wrong.
Please tell me it was Kai Kamara.
It was not Kai Kamara.
That would have been it would have made no sense, but it would have been hilarious.
It was D, Paul Caligari.
I felt like that was a 50-50 in terms of like, it had to be one of those two. It could never have been A or C.
Despite a contract clause that dictated he play for his hometown LA Galaxy, MLS allocated Paul to Columbus in '96.
Wow.
Although he did score 3 goals for the Crew, he sued MLS over the issue, and in '97 was placed with the LA Galaxy despite his high salary and the fact that the Galaxy were close to the salary cap.
So they were cooking the books even back then with players.
Yep.
Literally from day one. That's wild.
They didn't have a commissioner of MLS back then.
Who was it? Did they have a commissioner at all?
The owners.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was all owners. Like Lamar Hunt owned Dallas, Kansas City, and Columbus. Columbus. Robert Kraft owned New England and Miami, and I think another one.
Yeah.
Like everybody owned, like multiple teams.
Wow.
Like we didn't get a commissioner until like the middle of the 2000s.
Yeah, I think it was like 2002.
Right. Yeah. Right when the Miami Fusion were folding and Tampa Bay was folding.
Mm-hmm. 18. Last 3 questions. What was Brian McBride's last year with the Crew? 2007, 2003, 2001, or 2005?
2007.
I'm going with 2007.
2005.
Derik went 2007. Jerald went 2005. You are both wrong. It was 2003 before joining Fulham of the Premier League.
Wow, I thought it was later than that.
19. The what's the word before the penultimate question or whatever it is? Who replaced head coach Greg Andrulis midway through the 2005 season? Was it A, Robert Warzija, B, Brian Bliss, C, Tom Fitzgerald, or D, Siggy Schmidt?
Oh, we kind of went over this, but we didn't say him.
No,
directly.
we didn't.
Well, we didn't say him, but we named these other coaches.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Warzija.
Okay.
Was it B, I think?
Warzija was A.
A.
Bliss was
what I'm
B.
going to go with.
It's A.
It is, in fact, Robert Warzija. Replaced interim basis in July 2005. Spent several years as Schmidt's assistant before being promoted to head coach himself in 2009. That was Siggy Schmidt, obviously. But yes, it was Robert Orrs. Yeah. Last question. I will really question. I really question Jerald's place on this show if he gets this wrong.
Uh-oh.
What club did the Crew play in their very first game? Was it A, DC United, B, Tampa Bay Mutiny, C, New York Red Bulls, or D, Sporting Kansas City?
Oh, I've seen a million photos from this game.
DC United.
That's what I was going to say.
Gerald's going DC. Derik is going DC. Connor is also going DC. You are all three correct. It was DC United. Bonus point. Can anybody guess what the final score was?
If I remember correctly, it was 1-0.
It wasn't a lot. I'm going to go with 2-0 for the sake of being different.
You're good. Gerald's going 1-0. Derik's going 2-0. You are both wrong. It was 4-0.
Oh, so I completely wrong, assuming that it wasn't a high scoring game.
Yeah.
See, I went, I didn't go bold on that one. So
I was going to say something like, hint, this is like one of Gerald's bold predictions almost every
yeah,
week.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. It was 4-0. That the Crew won in front of a crowd of 25,266. So that was fun.
Yeah, you know what? I learned a lot. I
Yeah.
learned a lot about, especially the first portion of the Crew's history where I was not.
you were absent.
Whatsoever.
Not
I was
privy
absent
to?
completely from the fandom at that point. I didn't join the fandom until probably after they won after 2008. I remember one of the first games I watched fully was that championship game.
Yeah.
It's okay. You just had to wait for us to adopt you. It's okay.
He said it's okay. So moving on now. I put up a poll earlier. If I can try and find it. I just wanted to know what people thought, right? So, is the Crew's attack a cause for concern? Yes. Why? No. Why? And we have some responses here. I'm just going to read the responses. If we want to quickly touch on them and give our opinion, we can. So let me share the screen again. Share screen. Here we go. Bow. All right. So can we see? So 26 votes. With about 15 hours left on the poll. Yes, why, no, why. So For the Crew podcast says, I think Jason Russell and Rossi are decent players. They can be really good on their days, but the issue is depth. If one of them go down injured, we are in big trouble. Or if late in the game we need an extra attacking spark, there's not really any option on the current roster. Jason, this person, says no finisher. We just play keep away really well. Arson is sporadic, but improving. Farsi wants nothing to do with the ball once he gets. And Rossi, JRR are hit or miss. We need a creative alpha closer. He went to Spain. Well, yeah, he went to Spain because he wants to play in the World Cup.
I would agree more so with the first than the second, but I think was it Jason? I think has some valid points in there.
Andy says lots of possession with no finish / final ball. Then Evan says yes. Why? No depth, no creativity, no finisher. Me very quickly. I agree on more so the depth part, but I don't think it's a cause for concern. The attack now is a cause for concern. I just think it's more so they're used to having Cucho be in certain spots on the field. So now without that, they're kind of nervous to make certain runs or drop into certain pockets But I think that's what thrives really well for Columbus is that, somebody is able to drop into the midfield and pick up a ball from the back line and then spring an attack for the wingbacks. So I think it's just still trying to get over the hump of losing Cucho because he's able to do that. But I don't think the attack now is a cause for concern.
Yeah, I think we've got time.
Yeah.
Like you said, for guys to get more comfortable in their kind of new, not positions, but new mentalities of attacking. I think a lot of people are saying yes, but then listing depth is an issue, and I don't know. I think they're two separate issues. I think depth, in my opinion, is more a cause of a concern. Like, I think if we're talking about the attack being a cause for concern right now, I think we have two guys who can attack. They're not to the level where they need to be at, or not attacking the ball enough, or whatever that may be. I don't know that depth has anything to do with the attack at this moment. I think depth could be an overall performance, but if we're just talking about attack, I don't know if I would say depth right now, because I want to see more out of the actual starters. But the spark part, I really agree with. Like, we do not have somebody right now who's consistently the guy who comes in and gives us that like jolt. A lot of those guys are already starting. So if we had a guy on the bench, that would be nice, but we don't currently. It doesn't feel like we do, at least.
Joe?
It's not a cause for concern. Everybody's overreacting right now. It's just people just got to get used to, being that star.
Mm-hmm.
Fair
enough.
It's time for, pull the bootstraps up, put your, your big boy pants on, and time for you to go make a name for yourself.
Yeah, what an opportunity, right? It's the gap is there, and Diego is Diego. I don't think the LA days were fantastic. He played amazingly, but I don't know that necessarily he's that player specifically. And so I think someone like Russell Rowe or anybody else, this is your chance to be like, hey, I'm gonna become a big star on this team alongside Diego and Nagby and those guys.
Yeah. Oh, there's a comment. It's in there. People are going to complain no matter what moves are or aren't made. That is absolutely correct. And you Connor, you want to know what I think of people who are going to complain on the internet? Bow. There we go. That's my face because it's annoying.
Yep. After every game, stay off of the Twitters as much as you can. Fight the temptation.
Oh, see, that's the thing, though. Temptation is what fuels me. I give to the temptation. Really quick. Small debate topics, only 3. Buy the idea or sell the idea. Buying means yes, selling the idea means no. Okay. The first one. The Crew need a new striker in the summer window. Are you buying that idea or selling that idea?
Buy it.
Buy it. Cool. Number 2, Wilfred Nancy should rotate the squad more. Are we buying that idea or selling that idea?
I'm selling that.
Selling the idea? Same here. Here is where I think this could cause a little bit of discussion. Number 3, last one. Columbus will finish top 3 in the Eastern Conference.
Buy it.
Ooh, Jerald's buying that
idea.
idea.
Of course, right? Everything is like subjective to like things that we do to get to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I'm gonna buy it because we have Wolfried and we have core guys that I think have proven that they can get to that point. And frankly, when we were looking at the standings, I meant to bring this up, our like friends down I-71 who are supposed to be like the greatest team ever assembled are nowhere to be found when you put that list up there. So like you've got some teams that are not performing right now. So to be was previously 3rd, now 6th after a tie, like there's easily could buy and see us up there at the end.
Our friends down south are currently 10th. I'm going to sell that idea.
Okay.
I don't think we finished top 3. I think we finished probably 5th.
What were we last year again? 4th or 5th? No, we weren't.
No, we were second.
Second.
Were we second?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ironically enough, here's how I know that we were second. So, Wilfred Nazi's first year in Montreal, they placed 3rd in the East. His second year, they placed 2nd. Wilfred Nazi's first year in Columbus, we finished 3rd in the East. His second year, we finished 2nd in the East.
He didn't do 3 years in Montreal, right? It was just 2.
No, he did 2.
Okay. Dang
Yep.
it.
Yep. So he
Okay.
literally mirrored his success in Montreal here in Columbus. The only difference, Columbus won an MLS Cup.
Right.
So, yeah. I'm selling that idea. I think we finished 5th. I just don't think bringing in a new striker now or in the summer is going to give us that that spark that we need, because let's face it, we're still going to be playing games during the summer during Leagues Cup. We're not going to be taking a break to focus on one thing. We're going to focus on 2 things at one time. The core guys, I think they're good, but I think the East has gotten a lot more competitive, I might say, with teams that have made moves, right?
Yeah.
Red Bull's getting Choupo-Moting. Orlando is cruising, honestly, with the people that they have.
Charlotte
is definitely cruising with the people that they have. I think the addition of Wilfried Zaha on loan is definitely helping a little bit. Let's just face it, Miami, I mean, they're Barcelona, they're prime Barcelona pretty much. I think the only Philadelphia also is very good under Bradley Carnell now for the first
surprising.
year.
I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, so I think the East has gotten a lot more competitive than it was 2 years ago, to where we were lifting MLS Cup and whatnot. So I think we finished 5th. Hell, maybe even 6th this year, but we still make the playoffs.
I say we still finish top 3, and here's the reason being, because if you go back to 2023, you'll remember Nazi's team started in the, they started out low, got all, and worked their way up, right? You touched on, you don't know if a striker coming in at the summer will give them a strong push. I'd take you back to 2022 when Cucho came over.
Okay.
Cucho came over midway, in the summer window.
Okay.
And started making a strong push for Columbus to make the playoffs, even under Porter.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? 1 point, right? 1 point out of, getting it to, 2 points from getting out of the, getting into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But Cucho was still making an immediate impact from the time that, he was allowed to play after, coming over here in the summer and making that impact. I think the team maintains a top 5 spot coming into the summer window. And gets up to, I'm not going to say gets up to the 1 spot or the 2 seed, but I say gets up to that 3rd spot. And reason behind, we've seen some of these teams also that, like Philly, like Charlotte, like Orlando, they have a great first part of the season, but as the season goes, they start falling off. Regardless of who their coach is, regardless of their talent, you just see them start dropping. And then you see teams like Columbus start picking up that speed, in the months of June, late May, going into the summer. And now look, they're in the top 3. So I see them staying in the top, 4 or 5, until that summer window, and then when they, are able to bring over a striker for, pennies on the dollar. Because let's face it, in the summer, players are cheaper in the summer than they are the winter. You know, maybe if they get, 1 or 2 pieces this window that are like depth pieces, but they have a certain role in the system, you add that striker in the summer. Next thing you know, Columbus is hoisting, Leagues Cup and MLS Cup. You know what I'm saying? It's possible, but it's just one of those things where you get 1 or 2 depth pieces that can play certain roles now, and then in the summer you get your striker. So when you could get them for the price that you want, and you can offer those deals, and then they come in making an immediate impact, and therefore you're hoisting the cup again. But it's just one of those things. As I said, I buy that they finish the top 3. The only way I see somebody overtaking Inter Miami for another a supporter shield is if Messi goes out for the season, Suarez goes out for the season, and so does Jordy. If those 3 go out with season-ending injuries, then somebody has what it takes to overcome Inter Miami, because they don't have too much star power after that.
Yeah. That makes sense. I can see that. Last segment, or second to last segment, I should say, because we haven't done yellow card, red card in a couple weeks. DC United this weekend. I'm kind of optimistic about this matchup, I should say. I do think we win, but we'll get to that here and later. Really quick, in case anybody has missed it, match officials for Saturday: Chris Penzo, Nick Uranga, Corey Richardson, Natalie Simon are our match officials. Jerry Marufo and Fabio Tovar are our VAR and AVAR. And of course, as Derik mentioned earlier, banana kits with Patrick Schulte wearing red, DC United in all black head to toe, with I don't even know who their goalkeeper is, wearing blue, match officials in pink. So
is this the first time in a while that we've had the all yellow and not the Charlie Brown with the black?
No,
I think so.
No, we had it in San Diego.
We wore yellow pants too, or yellow shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so used to him wearing black shorts. I kind of don't even think about the full banana kit, honestly.
No, that's fair.
Kind of done away with that as more of a third option.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. I can definitely see that because it's always been yellow and black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm most certainly sure we wore bananas against San Diego.
That game was bananas.
Yeah, it was. So, I don't even know how DC has been according to their recent, actually here, standings form guide. Here we go. That's what we like to see. DC United currently sit
11th.
Pretty low. I thought I didn't see him on that.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Well, the form guide is weird, right? Because the form guide has has them in supporter shield standings.
Oh.
So they're 22nd, right? So they started the season 2-2 against Toronto, 2-2 against Chicago. They won 2-1 against Kansas City, a scoreless tie against Montreal, and then recently lost 4-1 to Orlando City. So they are 1-3-1, win, tie, loss in their last 5 matches. As opposed to Columbus, we are 2-3-0, win, tie, loss in our last 5 matches. I haven't seen any games of theirs. I didn't watch the game against Orlando to see any key players, but I would assume keep an eye on Christian Benteke, right? So taking into consideration what happened against New York City, what would need to change for Columbus to get 3 points besides putting the ball in the back of the net?
Do we know who is definitely out for this game?
We will not get that until Friday. But as per Brianna McKay from the Columbus Dispatch, Mo Farsi is not back with the team yet.
Oh, brutal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think as long as we're not trotting out and we talked about it, the backup squad or B squad, with the rotation squad. I don't want to disparage them, but it did well enough. But we got to get those starters back in there. I think that alone is a big boost for this team. I think that Caleb Porter is on blow a gasket alert, just from some other stuff I've seen online about how he's already getting testy with media and all this stuff.
That's New England, not DC.
Oh my gosh, you are totally right. Who's New England's coach? Look at me. I've started following New England people. I had no idea.
Who's New England's coach is Caleb Porter.
No, DC's coach,
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
Okay, wow. Well, I'll strike that from my entire thing. You know what? In general, though, I think Caleb Porter is going to blow a gasket soon, so I will just stick with that prediction in general.
Troy Lesane.
No idea who that is. Okay.
You'd probably know him if you see him. He coached the Red Bulls before.
Okay.
He's actually pretty decent.
Ugh, I don't like to hear that. I think if we trot out our most of our starters who are back, I think we should do pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, Moreira did practice with in full practice today, so that should be good there.
That's good.
Camacho, I think Camacho and Lassie were both off to the side, as Brianna reported. Sajic, should be available for selection this weekend. Amundsen will be back. So, I think honestly, if Camacho's not able to go, having Yevon back there in the middle and Amundsen there on the left with Steven on the right, is a good combination. Even having Herrera there on the right.
Yeah.
He's, and the same thing, he's a rookie, but Rupakaba.
I was highly impressed with Caesar against New York City.
So that's a big one. But if since Mo's not back yet, maybe he might have got in tonight, resting up tonight and then might be with training tomorrow. I don't know. I can't be there. But no, I think we see maybe we'll have Max back. So if Farsi's still not in, you'd be able to throw, Dewan and Max out there. Possibly, I would love to see, Cole and Tristan get some more burn. Because they played, Cole's been soaking up everything that Nagby's been throwing at him. As a midfielder. So, and Cole has shown that, he could get out there. I know Taha's still, I think, either out with the U20 national team.
Yeah, I think so.
And, hell, if you want to, bring up Chase Adams.
I would like that. I would like to see him get some minutes, even in, extra time or something.
See, here's my problem, right? With this. Remember the last time that we were in a predicament like this and we had to call up players from Crew 2? Does anybody remember what happened?
We're burning their usage already. Is that
Correct.
You're talking about the goalie situation? Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
That's why we got like
He's
5
buying
goalies
everybody
in the
to a
offseason.
first team deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah. If we do that, we're running the risk of a goalkeeper, whether it's Patrick or Nico or Evan. I'm not really Evan, but Patrick, not even Patrick, Nico doing something. Not even Nico. Who is it? Evan? Because Nico would get called up to the national team. Evan?
Well, we
doing
got like
something-
5 of them now, don't we? I mean,
doing something. Yeah. Well, Stas, Lapkus. Okay, so Stas. Okay, so maybe we're fine there by signing Lapkus to a first team contract.
Yep.
But we're like, if not, we're like one goalkeeper away from having Sean Zawatsky back in the net again. He does not want to play keeper. I'll tell you that right now.
Hold up. Hey, Romero's out on loan. We can pull him back.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah. I
can't
was
win
like,
one.
who is the other guy? I could not remember who the
Yeah.
other one was.
There's Romero's out online, but we also got Pruder, who was drafted by Columbus as well. That's down with Crew 2.
Mm.
So
But what if Crew 2 are on an away match?
Then Josh Williams better suit up and get out there with the gloves on and get ready. Stay in game shape.
Oh, sick. We're starting a softball team at Berliner. Let's go. Sorry.
oh Lord.
Sorry. But yeah, so I mean, if Crew 2's out on the weight match, I mean, what's happening here? So I just don't want that whole situation to happen again, because the 7.5-minute rant from Wilfried Nancy after that Seattle match, and then he just absolutely gets up and leaves, was just pure class. But he had a point though.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why Issa signed like 6 goalies this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which everyone got really mad about, but it was like, hey, you got to cover your own tracks now, because we've seen what happens. We just can't let it happen again.
one normally gets called up to the U.S. men's national team. One gets called up to Guatemala. One is a veteran. One is loaned out. One normally plays for Crew 2.
And the other one was drafted.
And the other one was drafted, who also plays for Crew 2. So now, if we go, okay, Gold Cup, veteran, then we're going to go
So Bush would be the starter.
Crew 2. Yeah, Crew 2. Who do we have? We can recall Romero and have Bush start. Or we can recall Romero, have a Romero start, and have Bush on the bench.
I'd rather have Bush
That's
start.
how. Nah, I would let
Romero, honestly.
I would let Romero start if we had to, because
His redemption arc. He has to complete his redemption arc.
well, he sort of did in one game
Yeah, he did, but we need him to do it again.
in a regular season game.
Yes, build the confidence.
But other than that, I think you have Romero start and Bush come off the bench, because if for some reason that happens again, you would have a veteran keeper coming in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Instead of if the veteran keeper was the one that picked up the card, now you have somebody. It's just like, hold on, buckle up, Buttercup, and hold on to your seat chair.
Who needs to step up?
I mean, Diego and JRR.
I was going to say the collective.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the wingers.
Yeah, that's it.
And this is why, because if Ty, you and me have been Crew fans for for long, right? Take a look at the similarities between Ziggy and Nancy.
I cannot compare that, as I became a Crew fan in 2010.
Oh shit!
When Robert Orzija was coach.
So Ziggy plays how Nancy does. possession, loves to, get the wingers involved. And that's how, Ziggy play, had his schemes play. And you see that with Nazi. Nazi loves having the possession game and then also loves to use those wingers to spread it out and be creative. And back in 2006, Ziggy had the team playing, exciting football. Some of the results didn't go the way that they wanted, but they were still out there, it looked like they were having fun. Now, I told you this in 2023 though, 2023 or even last year, that the team looks when the team looks dangerous, they're out there having fun. It doesn't look like they're out there having fun right now. And that's what they need to get back to. So I'm gonna say the wingers in midfield, because that's where everything starts. Yes, it starts at Patrick's foot, playing out of the back. But if that midfield and the wingers aren't really moving like they're supposed to and moving together, your front line with Diego, Jason and whoever else they decide to throw up there can't really do too much.
Yeah.
It don't matter. You could be Mbappe, but if that midfield and the wingers are not getting you the chances and getting you to the right spots that you need to get to, because you have to drop back, you're not going to do shit. That's just, how I look at it.
And I think that was a strong part of our team at one point, I don't know, a few years ago even, was the wingers. Being able to get the ball in to the strikers at the right time so that you weren't just kicking it around the top of the box left and right nonstop. The wingers were dictating where it was going, and you were immediately getting shots versus the back and forth, which is maddening at times. And that causes, like you were saying earlier, AZ and Jason Rowe bumping each other off and taking over shots that should be going to somebody else, and those types of things. They can direct traffic a little bit better from the outside, from the sides coming in.
Just need to cut out the forced shots.
Predictions.
Derek?
I'm gonna go. I think the team is gonna have fun, and we're gonna win 3-1.
3-1, okay.
Aye.
Buddy, I go last. I'm the host of this thing.
I am too.
Who runs the show?
We all three do.
That is a smart answer. Who puts the most preparation into the show?
Not me.
3-2.
Ooh,
look at that.
Benteke is Benteke.
Okay. I'm gonna go 2-1. I'm gonna go 2-1 Columbus. I think we finally gonna win. It's gonna feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna. I think we're just gonna play the same way we played against New York with our starters, and I can see us getting out a win. Although stranger things have happened before.
I see Benteke getting a brace because he likes to take flight and he can fly. But I think he doesn't collide with anybody while in the air. I think it's a 3-2. And I will say Yevon will get a goal this weekend.
I'm gonna put money on this.
Ooh, I do like that. I do like that a lot.
I'm gonna put $1 on Yevon Jerald getting anytime goal scorer.
Because he was like, you could tell in 2024 before he got his first goal, he was so close. And finally he got his first goal, and he's like, I want more. But he knows that he's not going to get that many chances because with him being on the back line. So why not take it, when you can? And every time he does take that that chance, it's almost there. It's either just barely to the left, to the right, gets tipped over the crossbar. So I mean, he's getting there. So I'd look for Yevon to score this weekend,
That'd be awesome.
and Jason scores too.
Any final thoughts, guys?
Come out Tuesday night, lower.com, as the Cappies take on Lexington SC in the second round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. And come see Pipa and gang as the maestro sits there, tries to create a symphony with the orchestra of the Cappies.
Love it.
And get to the next round, because ain't it the third round when MLS teams start coming in?
Yeah, third and fourth. Yeah, third. I think third.
So I mean, if they could keep on going with the magic, let's stand behind them and get them all the way to the finals.
What's the real quick, just for anybody who's like on the, because I remember the last game, like the weather was okay but kind of chilly. The weather for Tuesday, well, just of course, it's supposed to be 70s over the weekend, and then on Tuesday of all the days, so it probably will change. It's like 60s literally every other day, and then Tuesday partly sunny, 48.
Yeah,
April Fools.
It is April Fool's Day also. That is April Fool's Day. That's crazy.
Oh,
that's
Lord.
crazy.
And also, shout out to CBS Sports for signing the deal with the U.S. Soccer and the Open Cup.
Wait, they did? That's true?
Starting in the third round, that they will stream all the games on Paramount, and that there will be studio shows.
That's awesome.
Oh, I'm here for that.
And certain games will be on CBS Sports Network and the Golazo Network.
Ooh, okay.
So that was also coming from U.S. Soccer put it out there too on Twitter. So it wasn't just people sharing that; it was actual. The U.S. Soccer Federation, put that out there. So shouts out to, bringing more eyes to the Open Cup. Like, let's go. Like,
that's what everyone wanted, especially in Columbus. Like, there's no excuses. Okay. We are like everyone. If you support this cup and you want the Crew to be in it, they are in it. It's Crew too, but it doesn't matter. Like we just saw half these guys play the other night on the main roster, so there's no excuses. Everyone should get out there. It's 6 p.m. Wish they would push that back a tad bit, but what are you gonna do? Even if you don't show up right away because you're coming from work or something like that, bring a change of clothes at work, drive straight to the stadium or Uber, whatever you got to do, and up the lads, as they say.
600 was the attendance last Wednesday, right?
622.
Let's see if we can double that this time.
Tickets are still like what, $10 or something like that?
$5 or $10, something like that.
I mean,
so let's get out there. Let's support them to get to that, to that third round, to where, who knows, they could maybe make a major push and play into the U.S. Open Cup final.
And if you don't think that Pipa and Josh Williams are going to have them hyped up to potentially play an MLS team, they're going to have everybody in the right mindset if they get to that point.
Hell, Pipa hasn't been past the round of 16.
Oh, that'll be as a personal. I mean, this is their big tournament, obviously, other than the next gen or next pro cup, whatever they call the championship. But I can about guarantee that they're going to prioritize this as like the thing. Eyes on the prize here.
I mean, they beat Lexington on next Tuesday and all that. That puts them into the round of 16.
It's going to be on. You
don't think people will be like, listen, I haven't got past here?
Yeah. Let's go. It's a personal issue for him at that point.
Any other final thoughts?
Columbus Eagles did drop their schedule.
Mm.
So they'll be playing. I think they got a couple games at Historical Crew. They do got a couple games at the Fortress. They got one game at the Historical Crew. Okay, so
First
one game
of the
at
season.
so one game at Historical. Then I know they got a couple at Fortress.
That's their home field.
Oh, bets?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So-
That's really close to my in-laws, actually. So I love that.
So they're getting ready to kick off, and then was it King's Hammer FC, formerly known as Inter Columbus? Will be their season kicks off soon, and I can't wait. USL League 2. Hell, we might see them in Open Cup next year.
That would be cool.
So,
Any other final thoughts?
no.
None here.
Thank y'all for being here with us for an hour and 45 minutes. Fun time though. Honestly, this was probably one of my favorite episodes to do. I think the trivia thing was probably the best part.
Oh my God, that was great.
That
I've
was
learned
fun.
so much new information today from that alone. Very educational evening.
Right.
We need to have
one of-
that every week.
Oh, dude, we'll have something interactive next week. I'll ask Chat GPT to make sure of it.
Well, it doesn't have to be, we could just do it all around MLS trivia each week.
Yeah, I'll probably not make it as long. It's 20 questions, but for sure.
10.
I want to thank y'all for tuning in on YouTube and Twitter. As always, you guys make us go. You guys are the bread and butter to the Wisemen Say podcast. Want to thank y'all if you guys have watched all the way to the end of YouTube. Again, thank you. If you guys have listened all the way to the end on your preferred listening platform, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media. You guys can follow us on Instagram at the Wisemen Say podcast, on YouTube at the Wisemen Say podcast. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Wisemen Pod. You guys can follow whatever Jerald's doing on Twitter.
Do an old spinneroony.
You can find me at Jerald_Lucas96.
You guys can find Derik.
Funky Moses 17.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at FisherTyler__. If you guys want to listen to us on your preferred platform, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, Pocket Cast, and Overcast, you may do so. You guys can also watch us here on YouTube, Spotify, and Goals TV. And that's pretty much it. Also, again, thank you for making us be the 45th best MLS podcast and the 4th best Columbus Crew podcast. We wholeheartedly appreciate it. Again, 18 subscribers away from 100 on YouTube for our first Wisemen Say merch giveaway. We want to do that, so please subscribe, turn on post notifications, and Jerald, my friend, as tradition goes, Wisemen Say,
Only fools rush in.
peace out, everybody. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay cool, hug your loved ones. Go Crew. He's not going to. Okay, stay wise, y'all.
Yeah, stay wise, y'all.